It's live. We're live.
Yeah, it's live. Yeah, so hello everyone. I hope audio is working. If the audio is not working, just let me know. Today, Naimul or Najmul or however I should pronounce it is a kinda like a guest, but yeah, we are just talking, so nothing too serious. And I will be continuing with the ogre. And Najmul will provide valuable input about different topics that we might cover. Uh, so yeah,
I'll be your digital painting hype man. I'll be like, yeah, come on, you can do it.
yeah,
Make that brushwork work.
I okay. Oh, it does even work. The audio works nice. Okay, I think it works. So just a quick reminder, I'm doing the ogre from Heroes of Might and Magic. If anyone would like to join like a small community, the discourse and links and everything are in the description, and later I will also post Naimul links in the description. And for the thing, because we were discussing like before the stream started the topics of like basically starting an artwork and planning everything. So I guess we can start from scratch with everything, and I will only get a confirmation that the audio works nicely.
If we're gonna
Okay,
be if we're gonna be
thanks.
talking about this stuff, then maybe I should start another piece as well. Make my brain work a bit better because I'm
Yeah,
at this
so
rendering stage.
basically, usually, how do you start an artwork when you do something? How you
Wow.
try to approach it? What are the problems? What are the things that you focus on first when you are doing the any type of an artwork? Hello, Mikołaj.
So what we were talking about? We've been talking about composition, man. How do you start it? My issue has been I've been too kind of too messy with the way I start things, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
wished I would have a more of a specific pipeline, something that works, and I can approach it that way all the time.
Yeah, but the with the things like this, when you have like a specific pipeline, the problem is it does not always work because like 99% of the projects are like different enough that it will basically rail off the entire thing. Not to mention if you are doing any type of a client work when there are like, I don't know, 10 different like feedbacks and whatnot, and then
Yeah,
your pro basically your process is impossible to be applied.
yeah.
So I guess vast majority of the time is it like the planning actually works nicely only for the personal projects. I
Yeah,
think.
I think we had a problem with this recently, didn't we? Remember, remember
Yeah.
the recent issue with well, with my recent issue was, and I think I spoke to you about this with you before,
Uh-huh.
as my flattening layers, right?
Yeah. It
I
does
had a
happen sometimes.
big problem where I thought I was on like a tight deadline or a tighter deadline, right? And
Mm-hmm.
my general way of working, which it always backfires and I shoot myself in the foot because I know that if I did follow a nice, tidy, specific pipeline where I've got all my layers and I'm
Mm-hmm.
working each layer properly, then it saves me a lot of headache later on. But when I don't get given, no, when I think to myself I've got a tighter deadline,
Mm-hmm.
then and just the natural way I like to work, I just I tend to make layers really fast and paint a few blobs in and then make layers and make layers and make layers and paint over things and stuff. And layer management becomes such a mess. I just flatten
Mm-hmm.
it, start a new PSD and or save a new PSD from it, and then I just carry on working.
Yeah, one of the hardest things actually, I believe, in like it might be even in like a personal work, but mostly in professional work, is to organize a file in a way that it can be understood by pretty much everyone. So this is always a thing that I feel I have been struggling with a bit to like plan how to prepare the file properly and everything.
Yeah. See, you're good with I well, I compare it to my way, and I think you prep really well, and you especially with the references and stuff, right? Because you actually go and dig up some good references, and you kind of like plonk them in onto your image, like beside the image that you're working on, kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing, and yeah, you just kind of go from there with like sketches maybe, and then you move to the next
Yeah,
phase. And
I might have a good start, but later I derail really fast. So, but this is like also a really typical problem with a lot of different artists. Also, if anyone has any questions whatsoever for Naimul or for me, feel free to ask. We will try to answer to our best knowledge, uh, with slightly limited morale due to all the doubts and problems that we encounter on a daily basis.
yeah, because like I always thought to myself, like rendering was like, this is what I liked about a lot of inspiration allies, right? I love the detail, I love the rendering, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think to myself, I could do that, I could just sit there and just, render one area and get rid of all of the nasty, messy goop everywhere that comes from the brushstrokes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when I look back at it and I look at the rendering and it looks crisp and stuff, it's again I just get less happy with it because I think sometimes the free brush strokes I have, or especially maybe looser, bigger shapes, I kind of tend to like that effect, right?
Mm-hmm.
Giving a lot of information with the least effort, and this is what I love about Mullins's work, he just gets to
Mm-hmm.
the point straight away, and then you just figure out you don't really need to render any more than that. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, and this is one of the things I have also been thinking kind of today, that uh, like, not saying that cartoon artists or stylized artists are like worse in terms of skills, but I feel they chose kind of like the lazy path where you can skip the entire like rendering and just focus on producing a lot of different cool art, because you just don't have to render for, like, let's say 40 hours one thing to make it look nice. You just basically draw, clean up the sketch, and you can just move to the next one.
mm,
So I kind of feel like doing those type of stuff is a much better thing for people who just like to do a lot and don't want to spend a lot of time on one piece. But most likely they also do spend a lot of time on some of the pieces. So I don't mean it in, let's say, any disrespectful way that this is a worse type of an art. Just, I would say, even a smarter way of working in a sense.
hey, if you want to be the smartest and you want to go big
You,
brain art process, right? Now, if you want that clean, crisp, super detailed rendered look, right? Who
you
needs to render when you've got mid-journey AI, right?
no, you just have to hire people who are better at rendering than you are. So this
Yeah.
is the smartest way, I think,
Oh
that
man.
you can do. Yeah, but yeah, and also, what are your thoughts about the Midjourney and the entire AI and everything that is happening with the AI?
Man, I like it. I actually do like the image. Some people, I do get a little. I've grown a little bit tired of seeing the images, but I don't know if it's because I'm a hater and I'm like, oh man, this stuff is just so cool. I can't believe it. And then or if it's because it is the same stuff that I'm kind of seeing on my feed, and a lot of the mid-journey artwork in terms of subject matter, obviously
Mm-hmm.
they're it can be different, right? A lot of it's different. Generally, I find it they produce very well, like dark kind of themes, right?
Uh-huh.
But yeah, people are just kind of doing like tons, like 50 image packs in one go of their stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, a lot
And
of the stuff looks really cool as a base, for painting and
I mean,
stuff.
it does look cool, but it all has like this very similar vibe to it. Like, I guess without many problems, I can distinguish when something was started by AI and when it was not started by an AI.
Yeah.
So yeah, and let's say, do you see yourself using the, let's say, Midjourney or whatever AI that will happen in your professional work, or You will just like enjoy the process of doing everything from scratch.
Uh, I want to say, I should use it. I should use it and I should test it out just to. You don't want to be that guy, right? Who just hasn't at least tried it before getting too critical with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to test it out and kind of see it and see how things are. Because I mean, like, I used to be the big grouch, oh, photo bashing, oh, 3D and stuff,
Yeah,
and all of this stuff.
I do remember it.
But yeah, but when you work with it yourself, and yeah, you can take it through the whole pipeline and go full 3D and photo bash and everything and produce work that way. But generally, like if add something to your arsenal, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
you paint over or you apply your full skill set to it. Generally, the end result it still tends to look like your work, right? It still tends to be like, oh,
Yeah.
I can tell who did that, right? And if that's the same approach with using like Midjourney and any other tool, then if you can turn it into your own work, then it's not gonna change what your style or anything is. It's
Yeah, but
just
also the
be another
problem
tool.
might be that a lot of people have with, let's say, photo bashing, and this is, I believe, a problem that you had, that I had, that everybody pretty much had, that you are afraid at some point to not destroy the quality of the photo. So the same thing might happen with the AI, where you just don't want to destroy the cool patterns the AI did because they just look so cool that refining them won't
Yeah,
make them look so like the same.
yeah, you've said it. That in fact, I don't know how that feels because I mean, I haven't tested it yet, and I know that when I muck around with photos and stuff, right? And I remember even my early days using
Hmm.
photo bashing stuff, I would I'd want to use it as a base, and I think, okay, now I'm going to paint over everything, right? And I paint over
Hmm.
everything in a very loose and uncontrolled way, and it's just you feel bad because the
Hmm.
image the image is like it what's the word, it regresses, do you know what I mean? It
Hmm.
goes
Yeah, yeah.
backwards in stages, normally what there's amazing time lapses of people's paintings that you see, right? And it starts off with in a messy scribble or the base layer and stuff like that, and then it slowly magically just builds up and it kind of all this detail
Yeah,
gets added
the
to it, the sorcery, right?
the
Everyone looks at
the
it like, wow, that's just amazing. That's magic. That's the magic of art, right?
yeah.
And when you counter, you do the opposite of that when you're painting over photos and stuff like that. It just doesn't feel the same way. It doesn't feel that liberating or anything.
Because honestly, when I was like looking, oh, okay, I mean, obviously, when you are using photos, you just have to paint over them, like even to just avoid the copyright issues and everything. Because after like a lot of modifications, the copyright does not even like apply to the thing anymore.
Mm.
But the thing is, with the AI, I noticed that the thing that I have been enjoying most from all the artworks that AI does are those patterns that I have no idea what they are and what they represent. I just enjoy looking at those like wiggly, colorful shapes that have like zero, like let's say, practical meaning.
Yeah, yeah. It's that much more frustrating because it does look very arty. It looks very like, design. Because when one you can say like a mechanical way of producing that very arty look, in the fine arts world and stuff. They're
Mm-hmm.
like consolidating your edges, right? If your two values are closer together, you'll smudge the edges. If you have
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
contrast area, you'd have sharper edges and stuff, right? So when you see the AI just automatically doing that, you're like, wow, you know what? It's all has that very cool,
Yeah, because also
designer
this
eye.
is one of the things that I have been told a lot in work. Like when you are doing some surfaces, just make sure the surface is like not uniform in color. So to incorporate different like hues and everything, but to not destroy the value of the surface. So you just have those natural like different changing tones and whatnot. And AI does it like beautifully because you just have like let's say a yellow surface and somehow it will add all the greens, blues, reds to it, and it will look natural. It will fit just in this way that makes it like nice, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. It's frustrating, man. It's frustrating because that thing that makes it work, the value's in the right place, but yet it all looks like smudgy and like painty
Mm-hmm.
and stuff, painterly, like that. Sometimes you don't get it in your work, and sometimes you do get it because you've stick to the good art principles and stuff, right? And it's not easy doing that. I mean, you might have a lot of training and stuff, right? And you might get better at it and stuff, right? But it's still that lifelong process where you're gonna make mistakes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes your image is gonna get muddy. You're gonna get muddy colors, and you're gonna
Oh
lose
yeah,
that.
the curse
Yeah,
of everyone.
you're going to lose that focus and things are going to go wrong, and then you might take a break, come back to it like an hour later with fresh eyes, and you're going to be like, oh no, look at that muddy noodly mess, and and you paint over it and then you fix it, right? And it makes you happy because you've solved that area, right? Now here you got like an image that's so loose, and I love stuff that looks effortless, right?
Mm-hmm.
Painterly work that looks effortless, right? One brushstroke to indicate that value or that thing, and it depicts that thing or that bag or that object or that your full anatomy so well.
Mm-hmm.
And the AI just gets it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't get it in a unique way, but it gets it in the general, maybe academic approach to fine art. And yeah, it's kind of
Yeah, one of
scary.
the really cool one of the really cool arguments I heard that kind of made me thinking a lot is that okay, and maybe AI can produce like nice images, but the thing that differentiate makes it different. Differentiate, how to say it?
Differentiates, yeah.
No, no, no.
We got it.
Differentiates.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was the word. It is the fact that humans can add emotions to the painting that they are doing. And I was like, yeah, this is a nice explanation why human art will still be better. But on the other hand, we can also add emotions like to everything that we see. So, and yeah, if you would even look at the modern art, like the one that is just like a pure cash grab in a sense and money laundering, people will find emotions and value in every single thing that you can possibly do. So I would say even the kind of the emotion part is not really that safe in terms of like being a value for the art, because I guess people will find emotional value in the pieces that AI did, because someone
Yeah.
might just claim that they did it and people will be like, oh, he wanted to represent this and that and through this and those emotions and everything.
Yeah.
And then you will learn that it's not his emotions, that it was the AI emotions. And you have a problem.
It's crazy, man. Yeah, I mean, it's I, you know, maybe it kind of shows like how it tells us more about how we think, and how we do think somewhat like in a algorithmic way sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
and that's something that the AI obviously can do very well.
Yeah. Yet.
I'm scared more because the future is going to be like very powerful for the AI.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish it hit some of the other, in what is it, the sides of the industry first. Like, man, can't there be like a random level generator? Can't there be like a powerful AI tool that handles the more technical side of art more? But it's just like, man, it's hitting us where you'd presume where the like kind of most uh basic or
Uh,
intrinsic part of art is, which is just how primitive, the more primitive the tool is, the more kind of personal it is. People say like, oh, if all you've got is a stick in the sand, then we know how you're going to paint. We know the person painting it and stuff, right?
mm-hmm.
The simpler the tool, the more of the artist that shows. And I feel as though AI is just managing to get right there, like.
I mean, maybe it turns out that the thing that we do are the simplest in the entire creative process. So
Yeah.
it might happen like this, because I have seen there were actually a lot of tries to like make an AI that will retopology, that will make the perfect retopology and everything. And it's hard, because not only you just have to understand what you are doing, but you also have to
Yeah. Yeah.
like teach the algorithm that what you might want and for what. So
Yeah.
I can imagine actually making, let's say, the AI that can make a perfect retopo is much harder than making an AI that can basically be like, okay, give me some phrases, I will just go through the photos and just combine them in a way that I think is okay.
Yeah.
So it like the creative illustration process sounds a bit more complex, but maybe in the end it's not.
Yeah, yeah, it's not, and like before we see it maybe impact those other like technical areas. We're going to see this area get developed that much more drastically. You're going to be able to write people's art styles. They've already got that. I know they've already got that. You put in like, oh, I want this stuff in Van Gogh
Yeah.
style or Picasso style, and it does give like an image that looks representative of that style. But it can get to the point maybe
But
where,
one of the things that I heard is some of the AI engines were teaching the AI to paint in a style of a certain artist that are alive, and those artists were not okay with it, and they did not like give the permission for the AI to like analyze their things, and they never agreed for the AI to like learn their style. And this is also kind of interesting, because in the end, if you have like a really distinctive style, and a lot of artists does, and you won't allow the company to use your works as the model for to teach the AI on how it should reproduce the art, then the AI is pretty much dead, and without the style guide, pretty much it can't generate anything on its own, in a sense. Like you have to tell it, you have to give it the initial resources that it needs. Otherwise, we'll just end up with the colorful blobs and everything, I think, or at least I hope it can't.
yeah, I mean, it's one of them things, isn't it? Though, like, yeah, we won't give permission, we won't grant it the rights and stuff. But when a tool is so powerful, it's like it's going to happen. People are going to use it. People are going to use it, and they're going to you know, like you could probably say 99% of all of the uh, amateur concept 3D art, right, is
Mm-hmm.
all done on pirated software, right? It's all done on
Yeah.
crack pirated software, right? And yes, the original software owners and stuff, they don't want people to use it like that. Okay, no, they probably do allow um, learning people to use it with studio licenses, blah blah blah, this and that, right?
I
But
mean,
everyone's doing it, so
yeah, the thing is, like, if you like steal the software and anything just to learn it, then like who can stop you, pretty much? Like there's no way that anybody can do anything for you,
yeah.
like to you, because you are not gaining anything from it. The problem might be only when you are starting to do the professional stuff and type of a thing. As far as I know, especially in a lot of the CAD programs, the AutoCAD and everything, there's a
Mm,
way to change the legality of the project, in a sense.
mm.
So yeah.
It's going to be interesting though, because like, man, when you think, and if you let your mind just go into the possibilities of the AI future and stuff, right?
Mm.
Imagine 3D printing becomes really easy with AI, right? Now that's it. That's going to just change the world. Everyone's going to have this awesome 3D printer. They're going to click the button, and it's not going to be require no painstaking process, right? Of like fiddling with and getting a 3D image ready to be 3D printed.
Mm.
Heck, you might even have a button, right? A single button that takes a 2D image, AIs it into 3D, and then prints it out for you.
I mean, now it's pretty much what you need to do is to like take 100 photos of something and press 10 buttons, and it will do the thing. So
Yeah.
I guess again it's just like absolutely just a matter of time, and it all will happen.
Crazy,
So
man.
yeah, but
Crazy.
in the end, I'm like, because I have seen a lot of artists are like, let's say, scared for the sake of making it simpler to understand. But in my case, I'm like, we will see how it will go. Like in the end, I do believe there is no way that in the near future the AI will be advanced enough that it will be able to understand the client's feedback. So at least this is the area where I feel completely safe, because if bunch of people can't understand the feedback that the client gave, I can't see what teaching model will allow an AI to like to learn how to understand the feedback. So
Oh my
in this manner, I do feel kinda on the safer side, I would say.
This is the boundary, man. When it achieves this goal, then that's it. That's when the world would end, I think.
Yeah, but on the other hand, if let's say our profession uh, will evolve into kind of like a managers of AI that you just like pick what is okay from it,
Mm.
then it will be a nice lazy type of a couch job. So because in the end, I can imagine a lot of people using AI to do all the projects, the sketches, and everything for like their board games and whatnot. But honestly, if someone is not really like visually developed and can't decide what will look well, what won't look well, the AI won't really help them that much, because they will still manage to make a project that will look like shit, because their choosings will just be on the ugly side, to put it
Yeah.
simply. So I do believe we still will have the artists will just evolve, or maybe the traditional art will get much more praise, because
Yeah.
if you will be able to see a human painting something, just recording the process and painting it,
Mm.
then I can imagine it will have much more value than it does right now. Because
Oh yeah,
in
yeah.
a sense, for example, for our occupation, let's say the
Yeah.
games and everything, the traditional art, I would say, is almost kind of dead. And the only place where I can imagine you can live while doing traditional art, and you can live nicely, is Magic the Gathering cards, because they really value the traditional medias in their illustrations.
Yeah. Which is great. All due respect for them for that.
Yeah. And even some artists like, let's say, Greg Rutkowski, they started painting finally with paints.
Oh
And
really?
they did, because they were pretty much doing the traditional stuff on digital, and
Yeah.
now he's actually painting with paints, I believe.
Oh nice.
And I believe Sławomir Maniak also does
Yeah,
paint
yeah,
with
yeah, yeah.
traditionals, and
Yeah.
I have to say their artworks only like improved because of this. And
Yeah, I think so.
it might be also because the thing I mentioned previously, that spending more time on a piece is actually valuable. So you can give it a proper thing, and you don't have to rush it. And with paints, you can't rush it, because you just have to wait for the paint to dry. So
Okay, so here's another question then, right? Because
mhm.
how will it change us as people then? Because there's a side where rendering and taking a long time on a piece, right? That requires a whole bunch of focus, right? A whole lot of focus, and
Mhm.
I think it maybe teaches you something about yourself or patience or whatever, and maybe ability to focus and counter stress at a high level, right?
Mhm.
Whereas I feel as though like if you've got AI and stuff, and if what you're doing is developing your creative side, which is I think what AI and these tools really do, right? Because it makes a lot of the technical side a lot easier. All your maybe your brain power, your creativity goes into just ideation, right? Which is a great thing. Now, how will that change us as a person? Are we gonna become far more creative? Are we going to see? We're
Mm,
definitely going to see more creative works, but are we going to see like a lack of people focusing on these things? And
I think it's not it's not like developing creativity per se, because you are not like you are not doing something creative by typing, let's say, a bunch of words. You're just kind of switching to a position where you are like a curator of art, and you try to pick the best sketches that you think are the best. But on the creative level, I don't think it's that creative to use AI.
Oh,
It can like it, of course, it can boost your ideas and everything. But on the other hand, this is also like a nice quote that I heard like back in the days, that if you need something to boost your creativity, like in a sense that you just need something to be creative, then you are not a creative type of a person.
that's an interesting point, an interesting discussion, right, to be had, because then, maybe do I like to think of art directors like that sometimes? Art directors, I say, like sometimes they might be lacking all of the skills, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they might be the most eccentric person, right? They're the only types of people to think, we're going to have a world where we're going to have, I don't know, like flying robotic dinosaurs that have a war with the alien species from Mars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, it takes, maybe us people who love to just paint realistic stuff to a high detail, right? We're never going to think of that crazy stuff, right? And it maybe takes a person who's really experienced with life and has got all of these wacky, crazy ideas, right? And eccentric, right? To use AI, right? And essentially come out with like, oh, you know what, I want it in this style and that style in Van Gogh with robots and this, that, and everything, right? And you come out with the most unique stuff. So one could make the argument that, okay, that might be creative, right? And people can spend like all day, doing that. So yeah, like I don't know, man. I just
I
get,
mean, it's
yeah.
definitely a cool thing for writers, because they can they can describe what they want in a really nice manner. Most likely, they should at least be able to do it. So maybe like the script making, the briefs, I hope they will get much better because of all the AI. Because if you have like a good brief, then 90% of the work is already done. It's just it will be easier to do anything else if the brief is okay.
Mhm.
So maybe it's like the AI will be helpful, but not for us that much. Maybe it should be like for the writers, not for the artists. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
But
Man, yeah. I
anyway,
mean,
it will be interesting how it will develop.
because so we've got ideas, right? Like we love certain games. Like, oh, I'm dying to play a Diablo game that's has that gothic vibe that I'm after. That Blizzard can't get right. Blizzard, if you're
Mm-hmm.
watching, get it right, right? Or we want a remake of Diablo 1 or something, right? Now we have the AI. We can be like, yes, finally. I'm gonna put into a search engine. You know what? I want Diablo 1. Here, take these sprites, remake it, upscale it,
Mm-hmm.
high definition it, texturize it, and I want it in the style of this, right? And then it brings you that, then it's gonna be interesting, man. Because yeah, like
Yeah, but unless it will end up like the remake of a GTA, where the AI took care of a lot of things, and then you had screws that were like pretty much looking like a circle, because it just decided that okay, it's a low poly thing, so I will just make a circle out of it. So
oh yeah, there was that big issue, wasn't there? Yeah, I
yeah,
remember that.
yeah, the AI just ignored the shape, and it was be like, oh yeah, that's better.
Because certain AI stuff, like I've seen like these um, AI tools to help, like old RPGs, right? Like Final Fantasy stuff with
Uh,
the pre-rendered backgrounds and stuff, right? And they have like AI upscaling, and they've done like it's done like a really good job, man. You know, like a really good job.
I mean,
You know, with that.
upscaling, I can imagine, is something that the AI will shine in, because if it can understand what it looks at, it can search the photos and it can just adjust the amount of pixels in it. So even though I have not like a practical understanding of it, I can imagine it's not something that is like so wild and unimaginable in terms of like how it's done. I feel it's more like you understand it, yes, just take a better quality photo and just reapply it and boom, and you have it.
Or even that's just sounds good, man, because I do want to see like a lot of the old stuff. Now, you know us, man. We're kind of the type of people who's stuck in the past. Well, I know I'm stuck in the past with games and stuff. I've been playing Dungeon Keeper recently and stuff, right? And that was actually a HD mod kind of thing. It had not a proper HD mod, but it kind of had like it was updated. The UI was kind of updated nicely and stuff. And you know, actually, I told you that I was I made not I made, but I got a Raspberry Pi and I configured it with emulators and stuff. I don't know if I should be saying that. I don't know if that's legal or anything.
I don't know.
But
I heard nothing.
yeah, but I think I was gonna say like the 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 some of the filters that you can put on the emulators is really cool. It's got like these kind of filters. I don't think it's AI anyway, but it's got these filters that can make it look sharper, you know, and smooth edges and stuff like that. And
It's just, it
looks,
sounds like an image processing, and yeah.
yeah, it's not really AI or anything. But I mean, you know, AI could be the next level of all of these things, and it could probably, yeah.
There are all this stuff that, for example, they use in Cyberpunk, that the AI learns how the scenes should look like and it kind of pre-renders them, so it's much easier to display them. So you like, the computer is not processing everything, but it understands what it's like, how the final effect will look like. So it like just gives you the image, and this is, I think you can even turn it on like right now in Cyberpunk, and I do believe I turned it on and it immediately gave me like 10 or 15 frames per minute or per second for the game, because it was just like, it was displaying kind of those colorful artifacts, but in a way that they made sense with the environment. So
Huh.
I guess
Interesting.
if you will teach the AI how the game should look like and how, like, what is the final processing output for the graphic card, then it can like predict what the processing will be for a certain amount of data or whatever.
Yeah, it's mad because you know, like you mentioned the graphics card and stuff, right? And you know, a lot of these newer graphics card, they're like they've got the AI deep learning technology or something, right? So I don't know if there's like some kind of hardware in there that enables it to do deep learning or something, but I've never quite understood that. How does it work? Now, you know, what is it with the chips that kind of make deep learning work, and how does the deep learning work on them or on it? You know?
I have no idea, but the way I would understand it is you just give it a lot of, like, in a sense, if you would do something 1,000 times, you would be able to predict what will happen if you will do it like 100, like 1,000 times in one. And with AI, I do believe it's, you just give it so much info that it can basically just say what will happen, in a sense.
Oh, okay.
I think at least this is how I would understand it, and also based on the memes that I really often see, that people just type AI and they uncover the AI and there's like a statistics underneath it. So I do believe it's a bit more complicated than statistics, but on the other hand, like everything that we do is also like kind of statistics. So if this, then that, if A, then B, if C, then this, if I don't know, X, then you have a problem. So, and you kind of freeze. So I don't know, but definitely interesting to see how it will develop in the like future.
Crazy.
But would you rather use AI to start your artworks, or do you enjoy starting the artwork from the scratch by yourself.
One thing I remember I showed you that I don't know, it wasn't a trick, but it was like a cool thing on Adobe Illustrator, right? And and part of me thinks, and I don't want to say this too early because maybe I'm gonna look bad, right? But quite a few artists, right? Awesome artists, right? Flipping badass artists. They've been uploading their work on that Love Death Robots stuff. And I haven't watched it, but the one, the thingy Mielgo's one with Jibara. I think it's called Jibara.
I have not seen it yet, and now you just reminded me that because now I have Netflix, now I have another series to
Oh
binge.
yeah,
So
yeah. I'm gonna watch that actually because I've been seeing people's artworks and stuff, and it
yeah,
looks really cool. And the thing is, you can imagine like some of the work I'm doing is kind of a bit more like organic and organic forest flora and fauna type of stuff, right? And when you see Jabara, it's got that that similar thing, right? So when I see it, and remember that I told you the Adobe Illustrator thing with a filter, you can do the filter and it kind of flattens all of the values out and it does it in a nice kind of way, right? It kind of looks like that's what's been used as a base for those Jabara artworks. It kind of looks like nice flat graphic shapes. And it's got so much detail that it just looks very neatly detailed that I'm thinking maybe I'm wrong. Because if I'm wrong, then heck, give those artists even more props because it looks crazy detailed, right? But it looks like it's got all of that in a nice space, and then maybe those blocks of color and stuff have been painted into and personalized to make your work as background art for the show. But anyway, what was I going to say? So that art, right, is so the question you asked was, would I use it as a beginning step and stuff, right? So that filter to me, it kind of had, it's probably not AI, it's image filtering, right? But it seems like that's a nice way to work with that. Now, for me, how I used Adobe Illustrator, and I think I told you this, right, where I like the fact that I can learn from it, right? So I can use an image thing because there is stuff as wrong and right, like simplification.
I
of
mean the fact
stuff.
that it can process the image on the mathematical way, not the
Yeah. And you get nice sharp shapes and nice values or whatever with that, right? Now, if I use that just to see how the computer done it, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but it produces definite, sharp, high clarity result, right? Which is always going to be needed. Clarity is always going to be needed, right? Especially in terms of like design or production pipeline, whatever. So if I can use a tool that can teach me about stuff, I like that approach of it, like a lot of artists and stuff, they've benefited so much from 3D because it taught them how light works and how rendering works.
Yeah, because it just simplifies the hardest aspect of everything. It just like gives you the this looks like this and you can't argue with it pretty much type of an information.
Yeah. Not just that, but even just the raw learning. Like for example, you go to your 3D engine, right? You're moving the light around, and you're looking at your 3D object with different lighting scenarios. You're putting a key light, you're putting a fill light, a rim light, and then as you're doing that, you're kind of learning, how in your mind you're learning, what the fall off rate.
I mean the brain gets used to looking at those things and then you will just remember the patterns pretty much. So
Yeah, so if you can apply that understanding back into your work, your 2D work, that to me is amazing, right? So I would love to be able to use AI to teach me or teach me certain things, right? Concepts that I might not be able to readily find myself, or and from that, it'd be like really cool, if there's an AI that would, if I clicked on it, it would show me where all the ambient occlusion is, or where it should be, right? And if I clicked another button, it showed me where maybe all the cast shadow should be, or this should be, or calculated it. And then for me, okay, I don't want to just use it to thingy my work, but I want to get an understanding. Oh, okay, that object far in the distance, the ambient occlusion doesn't affect it that much. But when I see the AI just showing me, just giving me a glimpse of like how it is meant to be,
Mm-hmm.
then I can learn from it, and I do like that aspect.
But I mean, it will be kind of like the interactive type of teacher, because on one hand, for example, you can like take a really neat 3D render with all the render passes and everything,
Yeah,
and you can just like study it and then compare it to what the AI pretty much did.
yeah, yeah,
Not the AI, what the pretty much. Wait, I'm trying to type while uh, because I need to find a nice bird. Uh, you can compare your result. For example, let's say you have the render and you want to try to paint the ambient occlusion pass like by hand. And
yeah,
then you can compare it to how it should look like or at least how the 3D engine did it.
yeah,
But what will be really nice if the AI could actually analyze the image and just explain to you why, for example, this part that you did is not correct while this is not correct, and just show you the data. Like this
yeah,
should be darker because something, this should be lighter because something.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it will be just the, I would say.
It's quite scary because now the AI has become your mentor. But like often like it's a weird thing. Like I've always wanted a mentor, but sometimes it's hard to find a mentor. Sometimes it's hard to find the best mentor. Sometimes you want the best mentor with the most technical knowledge, right? Because if they've
Mhm.
got technical knowledge, and when a person with technical knowledge like Mullins and these guys who know lighting and stuff so well,
Mhm.
that scientifically or even intuitively, right? And when they do a paint over of your work, they're like, oh no, fix the anatomy, fix the lighting, fix this, fix that. And they do a paint over, you're like, whoa, that is how it's meant to be. That's how I want. Possible that you should can get an AI that will know these technical things, right? And it can apply these things. Not yet, I mean, but I mean, like in the future. And I feel as though it'd be really good for learning,
Mhm.
really good for learning.
Yeah, I mean, hmm. Now I don't know where I stand with the entire AI type of a thing.
I know I'm scared even more now thinking
I'm
about
not.
it.
It's not even scary. It's like it is so random and it's developing so fast that it's hard to like get a grasp on it, like to understand that where, what to
Yeah,
do with it.
because the best ways of learning for ourselves is kind of to interact with things, right? To rehearse things, interact with things,
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about things. You know what they say, right? A lot of these artists, you should be able to, be first example for this. When you're teaching, like you taught
Mm-hmm.
at school, right? When you're teaching somebody fundamentals, you're getting better at fundamentals yourself because you're that conviction of teaching people it is solidifying that knowledge
Yeah.
inside you, right?
And for me, the most important part was they were having problems that I had no idea are even possible. So
Oh yeah, there you go. And
this was like the biggest one.
man,
But yeah, but that's true with.
with AI, that would be like
Mhm.
even more.
Yeah, you will kind of get this type of a universal teacher that will always be right, but will be really dry with everything that it says to you. So this might be the only problem, that it will lack this interaction with the human, which usually is a bit more interesting while you are actually learning something. And a really cool example for it, because at some point I wanted to learn how to make a tattoos and everything, and just to learn doing tattoos, kind of like drawing a backup plan that pretty much has always good money in it and a
Yeah, yeah.
stable base of clients. So I thought maybe I will give it a try. And I have done some different tattoos, like some friends of mine and whatnot and everything. Really cool job, but not for me. I got bored really quick.
Oh
But
really?
yeah, I did like 10 tattoos, and while tattooing, then I was like, yeah, this is fun, this is cool. But when I stopped tattooing, I was like, yeah, okay, I don't even like, I don't want to do it. Like, I just didn't feel the urge to continue this path. But the thing is, of course, if someone would like plug me into the AI that will teach me how to press, what angle to use, what paints or whatever, I will be good most likely technically, and it just will be the okay tattoo artist or whatever. But one of the things that really stayed with me is I had a problem to push the needle deep enough into the skin so the ink will stay inside nicely. And I just couldn't grasp the idea on how hard should I like push it, or how much pressure should I apply or whatever.
Who needs
What
it?
should I do? But
Who needs tattoos when you can just have scars, right?
yeah. But a friend of mine like just told me two things that maybe he was not intending to teach me, but by accident he gave me a really nice uh, kind of like shortcut on how to approach this problem.
Yeah.
And he told me the first thing is like, why are you afraid? The pain is on him or her, not on you. So like, don't be afraid to press it hard, because it's not you who is like hurt by the needle. So
Yeah.
just don't be afraid to inflict the pain. And the second thing is when I told him like, okay, but I don't know how hard I should press it. Uh, he just told me that it should sit as tight as the male private parts in the ass. And I was like, okay, now I get it. Yeah, and it was just like a one simple question, like simple answer that was like just dumb, but it explained every single problem that I had regarding the like all the pressure and whatnot, and how I can imagine how painful it has to be. So I was like, okay, now I get it. Now everything is clear. So yeah. And this is the thing that I think AI won't be able to replicate soon. That like this individual type of approach to everyone, because in the end, as they often say, uh, part of you is the product of the environment. Like not all of you, but I do believe the part of you is the product of the environment you are in. So yeah, the teachers that you will have will also affect the artworks and everything that you do. Even for the thing that when I wrote to you like back in the days asking for the paint overs or whatnot, because I just liked your style and everything. Like the feedback that you were giving me were vastly different from all the other people that were giving me feedback. So, you know, because for example, back then you were really focused on all the graphic shapes and like basically painting everything from scratch, not using photos and anything. So the feedback was just different, and somehow it definitely developed my skills in a different way than if I would ask anyone like else for the feedback, because you just focused on a different aspect of the thing.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. You know, man, yeah, just how things affect your personal development and journey. That's like,
I mean, because in the end, I can say a lot of like for a lot of artworks that I really like, it's not only about the artwork, but it's also about the person that did the artwork.
yeah,
So I think this is something that AI won't be able to replicate quickly. Like this interaction with the artist is just as important, I would say, as the artwork itself. So,
yeah.
but
Right.
we'll
Can
see.
you give me 5 minutes? I'll be
Yeah,
back.
no problems. So if
Once.
anyone has any questions whatsoever, or you would like to get a paint over or anything, now I believe it's the time. If you want it. If Mikołaj is still here, you can say that you are here, so I might look at the things that you have sent, or if you want to send the updated version, just feel free to send it. So maybe we will look at it together. So yeah. And for this guy, I kind of went a little bit more with the African type of a feel with him. I kind of like it a bit more. I guess I will just photo bash the shit out of it and just keep refining it. Maybe I will refine the thing on my own, not on a stream, and just record the process and just post it later. So because I feel like refining is like painting all the fine details is a bit boring on the stream because it's not as flashy as the sketches and whatnot. So yeah, I might take this approach to finishing it. Also, I don't really like the shape of the club. I think the club could get much more, could be a little bit more interesting in shape. So let me just separate it real quick. So maybe I will shape it as the dragon tooth from the Dark Souls, because the dragon tooth is like curved maze type of a thing. It has definitely much more interesting shape. I will see the web. Giant maze. Giant wooden maze. Giant wood log. Because the logs are quite straight, so we'll come back to the Diablo redesigns. Yeah, at some point I will. I think first I will finish the Heroes of Might and Magic stuff, and then I will ask if I can continue, because I need to get a green light for continuing the Diablo things. So yeah, because of the professional type of reasons and everything. So I would love to go back to Diablo. I hope I won't do any skeleton on it. But yeah, the plan is to go back to Diablo sketches. And then I could also ask Najmul or Naimul, or however you prefer to pronounce it, to also participate in it, because it's also his, let's say, specialization, the Diablo. Also, do you still need the paint over for the artworks, or you're good? Because I can give you the paint over. Or I can actually send it also to Najmul, so we will see how he will approach it. Maybe he will be willing to make a small paint over. Don't like this opening here. Okay, yeah, sorry for lagging, but recently I had way too much things to do in workplace and in personal stuff. And also from the last Friday I do own Netflix account, so now I do have even less time because I have to binge yeah, if you want to send anything, then for the critique I can go on it. Yeah, but now also I do have to binge like shitload of series, so yeah. This maze looks flaccid. I kinda would like it to be like this huge ass stick that is just like scary. It's maze type of a thing. It's kinda like rough and beaten up. And those fucking flies. Ow. Mm. Yeah, this is one of the things that I do really enjoy while I can work and talk to someone at the same time, like illustrate and talk, because then I turn off my brain completely and just let it flow. Let me open. What's a book? Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. This one, okay. Copy Grafica. Mm. Make sure that, yeah. So generally it looks kinda okay. All the main shapes are pretty much here, but I do feel the entire front, basically the entire this area could go much further forward, so he will look more hunched, because I can imagine him being a little bit more like, let's say, like this with his posture and this circular thingy, and having all the things on his back like somehow attached in here. Previously, I feel he looks more like, well, he looks more like this, which is, I don't think, ideal. I do feel this shape is a bit, it's a bit nicer. So yeah. So this is one of the things. If you're back, we got a special thing to give a feedback on a piece. Do you want to participate in giving feedback?
Yeah, sure.
I will send you the thing then.
Yeah, sounds good.
This I sent you on the thing.
Oh.
Yeah, so
okay.
I guess we can go through it together.
Bioshock, right?
Yeah. Okay, what are the first things that you notice, so we can just go through it one by one that are not okay with it?
I think I would say the where it's standing, it doesn't quite look solid where it's standing, and I think that's because the feet look a bit. I think there's like a brush stroke over the feet or something. It does. It doesn't look like it lines up well. The feet where
Yeah,
the feet
also the
placement.
perspective looks kind of off, like he's standing on
Yeah.
the, like on a slope, not on the ground.
Yeah.
So using the lines that you kind of had in here, they suggest the horizon is really high. So yeah, because the horizon line is slightly like on his like stomach area or something like this. So the ground level is seem to be a bit too high. So this is definitely one of the things that you should remember.
So the right foot should be the right foot, the left foot looking at it, but the right foot should be further down a bit more, isn't it?
His right foot.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
where the shadow, I'm guessing the main key light is kind of coming from the lights in the background, right? Or is that the rim light? I can't quite tell if that's the key light or the rim light. But in any case,
I would say this should be like the general ambient light, but the green thing is the thing that you showed me about the fake fireplace in the background. The how did you call it?
Yeah, motivated lighting, I think.
Yeah, motivated lighting. So
yeah, that's the rim light, right?
yeah, I think it kind of looks like it. So the general
Yeah.
idea was this green thing won't give this type of a light, but you add a rim light that is green, and you kind of, the motive for this green rim light is this green environment. So
So yeah, I think the lighting, where the lighting has issues, is you can't tell what's ambient, um, what's the rim light and stuff. Because, like for example, on the thing at the back, the what is it? The canister at the back, it's got like a ambient light coming from behind,
yeah,
but there's no ambient light on the arm.
so I think more like of a soft light on every single thing pretty much would make it nicer a bit. Just like lit it from pretty much everywhere with this green type of a thing might work.
What else? You have a strong bloom that's coming out of the main lights on the helmet at the front. Now, I think there's a lot of different lights there. You've got a bloom coming out of the light. You've got the light that's casting a rim light on the inside of the railing. And then you have on top of the railing, you've got the ambient light. And then on the side of the railing, it looks like there's the rim light coming from the blue rim light. So I think all of that needs to be simplified a lot more.
Yeah, kind of like, because I don't know. Oh, you can maybe turn on the stream and mute so you can see what I am doing.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it will be a bit easier to communicate. Yeah, I think making the grid or whatever darker just to showcase the main yellow light from him would make it a bit nicer. And I think you muted yourself.
What?
Oh, no, okay, you did not.
Okay, no, yeah, that's fair. What am I meant to mute? Okay, yeah, I'm muting the video. Okay. Yeah, see what you're doing there. Yeah, you're putting a silhouette over the main railing, which is definitely, you need to get that.
Yeah, and maybe this type of a light on the arm, because I do believe it will be also lit by the face. You will see everything with like a bit of a delay, so. Okay,
oh, right, yeah, okay.
This type of a thing. And I think that the rest of the silhouette can basically just get a blue light on it using the same method. Well, no, this thing. Get away from the light and let's check a different blending mode. Maybe something like, well. But the thing that definitely I would do is to separate the entire silhouette from the background.
Yeah.
Let me select it.
I think I'd make the ground a nice ambient mid-tone and get rid of all of the black in the
background.
On the background, yeah.
Yeah, because soon I will check to the values also.
And then you can have the feet a lot darker. And then
yeah, because if I sweep
contrast.
if I sweep change to the values, then the background has darker shapes than the foreground, so usually it's not the way to go. Like, this is kind of a simplification, but yeah. So something like this to put the silhouette out a bit more. Because you can actually, you can have pretty dark artwork in a relatively bright environment. It's not that hard to do. I mean, it is hard to do, but...
You're quite good with that lasso tool, man.
I have to admit, Cintiq does help.
Ah, Cintiq, yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, it really makes the lasso tool light years easier, so...
Yeah, man. After you getting a Cintiq and me having a go on my Samsung tablet, I really want a Cintiq now.
Yeah, I have to say, if you can get it, because it is worth it. So
don't tempt me.
I mean, what else do you want to spend your money on? Yeah, something like that. But I feel in this one it kinda like this is one of the artworks that misses the thing that we spoke about. That the planning was not here, and it has all the problems that we usually have with all the artworks
Yeah.
that we do. So the big shapes, the small shapes, the separation of the shapes, and everything.
So I would make the ground lighter because
Even
it seems
lighter.
like the ambient would not
Yeah,
have the ground so dark, right? And then the feet would come out.
yeah. Now I did the thing that you are guilty of doing. I flattened everything together, so I would have to separate it. And hello, me blurred. Najmul is today here.
Hey, Miblet, how's it
Yeah.
going?
Uh, yeah, I guess something like this would be better. And I guess the best thing that you can actually do is to just go Bioshock. Yeah, I forgot how to type shock. And just maybe search for some sort of a reference because let me check it. Can I find this guy was called something along the lines of Big Daddy, right?
You
I
know
mean,
what?
I don't know. Do you know how this guy was called? Because
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I haven't played it.
I do believe he was called like a Big Daddy or whatever.
That's funny.
Uh,
You know, when you're approaching an image that's gonna have a billion lights on it, you've decided to put the big blue, like the ambient light. He looks like he's in kind of like an aquarium or something, right? So you've
yeah.
decided that now, and you've decided there's going to be a rim light coming from that, and you've decided he's going to have headlamps, on the helmet thing, right? Now you've got like three different lighting things, right?
Mhm.
So when you've got that, then you've got to kind of decide like, okay, which ones are you going to prioritize, right? And that could be a very subjective thing. So you could prioritize like kind of how you've done it, right? I'm going to prioritize the headlights. The
Mhm.
whole silhouette is going to be dark, and I'm going to prioritize the headlight, and with that a slight bit of rim light on the, coming from the blue. You could do it that way, or you could prioritize the ambient, right? You can make the ambient kind of to really showcase all of the armor and forms and stuff, and all of the the different, the armor and stuff,
Mhm.
right? And you could showcase it that way, and then you could push the rim light and the headlamp back, and you can make it just flat shapes. The headlamps can just be flat shapes without any blue, and then you get more of a graphic read. And then the rim light, you could maybe.
Yeah, I actually now found a really nice reference. I will upload it with the name of the artist because it's on our station. It's basically everything that you just said about the lights. Because
Oh
there is
yeah, I see
the
it. Yeah.
artwork of Maximilian Pichler, a really nice artwork. But as you can see, you have this like main light source that basically makes the entire thing visible, the rim light with the blue thing, and the main like that this red type of a light source to show it. So yeah, I guess taking something like this as a reference will be nice for to make those type of an illustration.
Oh, another thing, easy pointer as well. Like you've, I mean, again, it's always a subjective thing, but your character, it looks like a character illustration, right? And if you
Mm-hmm.
got, even with a character illustration, you kind of want to maybe fit the whole character in like nicely. I feel as though like your character feels very
Yeah, yeah.
squashed
Mm-hmm.
into the canvas.
I mean, make it too big for the canvas, like purposefully, but don't do stuff that, let's say, everything is fit but is touching the air, like the sides, and one leg is just like cut for no reason at all. So like make the cropping much more decisive, or make more room around it, I guess.
Mm.
Yeah, but generally it looks nice. But honestly, I wouldn't even know how to overpaint it. But I think just separate it a bit more from the background and just focus on the bigger shapes as we spoke previously. because this for this type of a scenes where also you're using a lot of like strong light to kind of get the dramatic effect, you don't really want to show everything, but you want to play with the shapes much more, I believe.
Like say, in that reference that you've got, that's like a good reference as well. On that reference you got, it looks like strong ambient light, and you can see
Yeah,
all of the armor and everything, and then it's got that blue rim light, right? But then,
yeah.
but if you decide to do that, then okay, you've got a dark background. That's why it pops quite well on the dark background.
Yeah. But for example, now I can change the ambient to like this green type of a hue, and then it will like, yeah, it will fit still. So as you can see, well, it'll be this one. Soon you will see it. I will see if I can change the color of the red to green to yellow to make it fit a bit more.
Paint overs are quite so. It's actually you actually learn from it yourself, man, because when you look at other people's decisions and then you kind of have a look how what you decide on it, and you maybe depending on the level of the artist and stuff, maybe you correct certain lighting stuff, right? Then yeah, you kind of learn what you're doing because you have to like when you talk about it, yeah, you kind of
Yeah,
get a
but
better idea of
wait,
what.
I'm trying to add a similar background to the thing. Yeah, but even now, I don't know. Can you see the with the background?
Yeah.
Now it kind of disappears, I would say. So to make it not disappear, I guess then you would need like much stronger shape on the top of it. So it like that the silhouette will be a little bit easier to read this area. Yeah, but I guess this is it. I don't know if it was helpful. I hope it was. Yeah, and also check out the Maximilian Pichler thing, and I hope if he ever somehow sees it, that he is not mad that I painted over his stuff. Yeah, I will go back to the giant. And yeah, and this is the thing also, a curse of looking at other artworks, because now when I look at the giant, now I kind of want to place him in the night with the fireplace around him so I can paint a nice rim lights and everything.
Oh, I see what you're doing now. Yeah. Yeah, see that is you're turning that his Maximilian's work into kind of what you'd apply into
Yeah, it was easier to pretty much show the entire thing by editing the 3D thing.
oh, nice, man. I've just
Yeah, I have no idea what delay is on the stream, so
yeah, I've just seen your ogre. Just your
ah.
ogres come back up. So I haven't seen it this level, man. I think I seen a clip of it earlier and it was just like a very rough sketch. So it looks like you're
Yeah,
almost done with it.
but the thing
Very
is,
tight
I
rendering as
feel
well.
I mean I want to get the rendering much tighter, but I think I will do it off stream because rendering is not that sexy for the live stream. So
Yeah.
I guess I will just record the rendering process and just make a video out of it. It will make much more sense.
Oh, have you seen this guy, right? I actually took his work as reference recently. He kind of is trying to copy a little bit of, Evan Amundsen's kind of work, but he's doing like very stylized character designs he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's doing it based off his own like IP kind of thing, and he's even writing a little story next to it when he does it.
No.
And let me find it because his work, he's done some quite scary work actually. You see it? Let me have a look. I'm sure I saved his. Uh, 1 second. Oh, what? I didn't save it. That's a bit weird.
Yeah.
Oh, that's 70s
And
work.
for the ogre, what would you say that you are missing or what you would add to it?
Man, one thing I love about the ogre is it's got elephant type of skin. It looks like an elephant texture,
Yeah,
which it works so well, man. I don't know why I wouldn't think of it. An ogre should have that big bulky size and stuff, and an elephant would be like a perfect reference for the texture and stuff. So the feet look wicked, man. Tiny chains, the wrinkly feet.
yeah, the chain is the I'm missing the word. Happy
And
accident, because I just found a reference of a leg of an elephant that was a high quality and it had a chain on it, so it stays. Yeah. I
it's
think I
nice.
will send it later for all the paint overs and the critiques. See how I can improve on it. Also, there was a question, because I will ask if I can continue with the Diablo and everything redesigns. Are you up for doing some redesigns from Diablo if I would be able to continue the series?
Yeah, sure, man. I'm always up for
Nice.
that.
So, if I will be able to do it, then I shall contact you and we will do more streams together. Because also this is one of the things that when you were like away for the brief moment that I was telling, that it's much easier for me to focus, which is kind of counterintuitive, why I'll actually talk with someone, because then I can just turn my brain off and just let it do the things.
It's funny you say that because I remember I used to say that as well
Yeah, you
before.
told me this like 2 or 3 days ago, so and I absolutely agree with it.
No. Yeah, but I think I remember you were. I asked you this very early on. You know, when we did a stream ages ago, right?
Uh-huh.
Maybe the early Diablo streams and stuff. And I said the same thing, like, oh, you know, I find it easy working when people talking because I don't have to think too much and it's just autopilot mode, right? But I
Mm-hmm.
remember early on you were saying you felt you couldn't talk and work at the same time
Yeah.
early on, but now I feel as though you've like so much better with it. You know, just like
Yeah, the thing is at first, because at first I mean, I'm still kind of do, but I was try harding to like talk and whatever while working.
yeah.
Now the only thing I need to really focus on while I talk is to not by accident share confidential info from work. So this is like my only worry, honestly, at the moment. Just not spill the beans by accident. So yeah, and for the ogre, a question for the environment. What do you think the environment should look like? Because now I just added the rocks and it feels bland. It feels empty and it feels boring.
Okay, so when I think of ogre, right, I think more of a rocky area, especially now that you've got
Yeah, but
elephant.
the only design restriction is that it has to be visible that this is a plains. So if you,
Ah,
yeah, this is the tricky part that gave me a lot of trouble and a lot of problems. That I want to keep the environment a bit different with some sort of a touch to it. But if you combine 7 of them, all with different features to them, you could clearly see that this is like the golden grass plains type of an area.
oh, okay.
So this is why it is tricky, in my opinion. Because with the
Hmm.
goblin, I got the critique I showed you previously with like the rock and everything, and it made sense for the goblin. But for the ogre, it doesn't make that much
Hmm.
sense. It's a bit trickier.
Hmm. Then what can I say? Um, hmm. I don't know. I think that's it. I mean, you know, it's a character illustration. You know, you can't. The thing is, the character is very big on the
On the
canvas,
canvas, yeah.
so you're not working with too much space around to really put anything. Like, okay, maybe when I think of ogre, I think of like a cave or rocks. I said right, or maybe I think of like more of a overcast, like a moody day, right?
Mhm.
You know, he lumbers around in like the, you know, in the kind of I don't want to say damp or dank weather kind of thing, you know. But you want the golden plains, so that's kind of your thing, isn't it? So
Mhm.
yeah, I can't think of too much else really.
Mm.
Um, maybe you can put a gradient on the sky. That might give it a bit more depth.
Yeah, this is one of the things that I just wanted to try because I think I changed the sky previously.
So when you're looking in the far distance, you might have a lighter blue, and then the more of the sky right above, you're going to have like a darker blue, and then that might give it a bit more of a depth perception kind of thing.
Mhm. Yeah, slightly. Yeah, it does work. Yeah, but the thing is, I constantly try to remember that I want to have, like, let's say the background to be somewhat also uniform for all of those. So
Oh, okay, okay.
this is also a hard part because this is actually a really hard problem, I would say, to present 7 units on a similar background, but not the same background. This is tricky.
Maybe you could put something on the ground somewhere. Actually, no, you've got units of scale there anyway. You've got like the skulls on his hip, so I suppose you get a
Mhm.
sense of scale from that.
By the way, did you know that the hippo school is this big?
Oh my God,
Yeah,
hippos are dangerous, man.
yeah, they are huge.
They've got, I think, have they got the strongest jaw pressure in the animal kingdom? I think.
I would not be surprised if they did because just recently I saw the statistics that yearly they kill around 3 to 4 thousand people,
No
and
way.
yeah,
No way.
and they are one of the most territorial assholes out there. So
84,000 people. That's
yeah,
insane.
and mostly on their own territory because people like trespass, and they have a really bad luck because they are also basically they are like the tanks. They are really
They are tanks, yeah.
Taptara tutorials, if you recommend them or not. Yeah, I actually, a question was there. I do recommend Taptara tutorials, definitely, because they're nice, easy to understand, and they are really straight to the point. They are kind of old, but I think he has much newer. I mean, uh, they're still the newest. Someone subscribed. I know, subscribe, yeah, or followed. Thanks for following. Yeah, the Taptara tutorial is definitely a good idea. And also, I had him as a guest in here. Do you know him?
Me, I don't know. I don't know. Zip Terra.
Yeah,
No.
Shataptara or Isha, I don't know.
Shit.
I never know how to read it.
Yeah, I have no clue either. Shout out Terra. No, the name is so familiar, so I'm sure he's very popular on YouTube, right? I haven't seen
Yeah,
it.
he like back in the days when I was like 13 years old, I believe, or something like this. He was one of not many guys who had like a constant flow of the tutorials and everything.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
I can easily say that he is responsible for like the thing that I got interested in art that much because I was rewatching his stuff over and over again. So I
Oh,
do believe he is one of the person that really got me into art. So yeah,
man, I really like that piece, man. Really nice.
I kinda like it, but I will finish it and then I will most likely stop liking it as it usually is. Yeah, because I most likely I would go over the entire thing like for the next 10 hours and just render the shit out of it. And I might do
Yeah.
it, I guess. I think I will do it because it would be nice to just push it through the boundaries. Yeah, also I think I will just oh no. I thought we are doing the streams for much longer. It's only hour and a half. Okay. Do you have a lot more power to sit and draw?
Of course.
Okay,
Of
so
course.
we can continue. So at some point I thought I have seen the hour is like over 2.5 hours, and I really lost the track of time. Also, one of the things that I really struggle with, and that a lot of Asian artists seems to be extremely good at, is to sometimes paint, let's say, really bright things, like let's say a white dress in a sunlight, in a way that they use like 2 or 3 values only for it, and it looks really clear, even though you can see that a lot of areas are extremely simplified.
What's that? What
Uh,
areas in the sunlight?
let's say you have some object that is like white or really bright, so you don't have like a full value spectrum for it. You can't go from white, like from the brightest white to the darkest black.
Yeah.
But when your darkest color is still extremely bright, so let's say it's like 80% in brightness or something like this. This is one of the things that I would really like to know how they are doing it, but it seemed to be a thing that is, I don't know, taught to them in some sort of a school or whatever, because I have never seen I don't think I have ever seen any artist outside Asia do painting this way.
You know, I think maybe it's just that raw rendering ability, right? You know, when you get really good at rendering, you can apply a lot of value and gradation or whatever, right?
I would try to find a piece like this. Yeah,
In a
continue.
limited value range. And so say if your value range is between 1 to 3, for example, right? And to be able to utilize that 1 to 3 range and get as much out of it as possible, I think Asians are like, because they've obviously been like very academically trained and stuff, right? I think that's probably one of the reasons why they're pretty good with it. And I suppose when they are academically trained, they're working from light as well. They're working from life as well. So yeah, that's obviously going to give you better understanding of real life lighting and stuff, maybe.
Yeah, recently I have seen the artwork on ArtStation that was up exactly what I was speaking about right now, but as it always is with stuff like this, I can't find it now. So
Yeah, I think I know who the artist you're talking about. I
oh,
can't.
I mean, even okay, I just found something different, but it generally fits to the thing. Just let me copy it.
I can't remember the artist's name, so I'm gonna have to scroll back through my likes a
Yeah,
long way, I think.
I will send you the thing, and I will also place it in the stream. Yeah, so this type of a thing where there's pretty much almost no black areas, and let's say that the stomach area is not that darker than the top of the head, but it's somehow extremely crisp and clear.
Yeah.
Like I have not a slightest idea how they decide on the value range on something like this. And this is actually also a really nice piece.
So with that, it's that planning again. You have to have things figured out from the beginning, right? And when you do your planning, you've got your local values, right? Your armor and your whatever, right? Your armor, your skin, or whatever, right? So if you kind of draw maybe like little spheres next to it, and you decide, okay, your skin is going to have this value for the light area, this value for the dark area. The armor is going to have this value for the light area and this value for the dark area, and you're only focusing on, say, what's the word? I don't know, key light, and then what was the key shadow or something. and you just rely on that, and that's all you're kind of doing, right? You're not you're taking less account of real material quality, and you're taking less notice of like other stuff like ambient occlusion. Like here on this, you can't see too much emphasis on ambient occlusion or uh, yeah, something like that that might make things a lot darker if you were to do it super realistically, right? So they've got these kind of and it's all figured out, right? So they know that their darkest dark is going to be a 6, for example, right? So if they've got it all figured out, your darkest dark is going to be a 6, your lightest light is going to be a 3, and your midtones are going to be a 5. And if you paint everything kind of within those constraints, right, and then you can.
Yeah, but I guess overcoming the urge to just add this slightly darker value and to keep it consistent is something that is impossible for me, in my opinion. Like just to push this contrast a bit more.
See, I kind of find it more comfortable working like this, right? Because I don't want to say it's washed out, right? Because it's not washed out. It's got all of the thingy in it. But I feel more comfortable working that way because it's I kind of feel as though when I work and I stay in that mid range or mid-tone range a lot, because in the mid-tone range you have the most rendering you can get from the midtones, right? I feel as though that area, if you stop at a certain point, and you don't decide to take it all the way to the lightest lights and the darkest darks, then you're going to get something like this, which is very like mid-tony. And also the process, you would start with a flat value, right? So you wouldn't start in a black and white sketch. You can start in a black and white sketch, you definitely can. But if you start with your local values, right, and then you just kind of know which way the local value is going to go. Oh, I love it though. It's a really nice image. Let me try and find
yeah, it does have this quality that at some point I would like to achieve, but I don't know if it's possible.
No, it's definitely you've got it, man.
Yeah, it's definitely impossible. Words to live by.
I'm gonna scroll down. I'm gonna find this.
Yeah.
Is where
Because sometimes I would just like be able to make an artwork in a way that it's really loose, but it is detailed. Like there's no reason to, let's say, render a surface because just those few brush strokes and everything. Like I mean, again, it kind of comes to the fact of like if you want to just practice for it, but some of those things are so abstract in their nature that even practicing for them seem to be almost impossible.
Oh man, when I oh no. Oh, that's so annoying, man. I scrolled all the way down my likes on ArtStation, and then I clicked on an image because I wanted to look at it, and then I pressed back, and when I pressed back, it started me right from the beginning again.
Oh,
God, come on, man.
yeah.
ArtStation has another thing as well. When you search something, right, in the search toolbar, search bar, and if you press cross on it or something, it takes you all the way back with the empty search box. It doesn't.
Yeah. That is depending on how the website is built, as far as I know.
Yeah, it's like
there are pages that don't do this, and if you like go back 5 or 6 clicks, they will have what you had there previously. So
yeah. I will find the thing I'm looking for. I will find it.
yeah, sometimes I wonder how how my artworks will look like, for example, if I would never go to like study the industrial design and anything and just like go hardcore on training or whatnot. Like I wonder how it will develop.
Yeah, I know, me too. If I followed a different kind of, because
Yeah.
one thing I used to always do before, like I used to use the most gooey oil painty looking brush, and I used to paint everything with that. And now I kind of use different brushes and the round brush a bit, and I would never use like the soft brush, for example, the airbrush. I've never used that, and now I tend to use different brushes at different times, which is
Yeah.
it's quite annoying because like I know I had more of a style before as well when I did things in my old way, and I don't know if I'm
Yeah, but on the other hand, it's pretty much like the way I work professionally is vastly different from anything that I do personally, I would say. There is a like the work kind of demands a different approach to almost everything from me. So
see that's I don't know if that's a good or bad thing for
I
me,
would
like
say
as
it's good because you can adapt. It's bad because it
yeah.
kind of derails the progress, the process a bit. But on the
Yeah,
other hand, it's good again because now you know more about the process. So,
exactly, right. And I feel as though there's maybe more pros in it. Like I want to paint everything right, and in my professional work where I know I could improve and do maybe like I get more clarity and learn better for that type of thing if I approached it with those uh, tools, the very high clarity 3D render or
mhm.
bashing tools, right? I can achieve that look, and I mess with sliders, levels, and all of this stuff to achieve my image, right? And for my own personal work, I just kept it completely, you know, the gooey brush that I like or something, right? And I painted everything that way. I think maybe my personal side would maybe in that path get stronger, and then my professional side, having high clarity work, will get stronger that way. Whereas now I'm kind of in this thing where it's just like, oh, I've got to paint everything, right? So if I approach my professional work and I want to make it high clarity realistic, I've got to
Mhm.
start using all of these brushes to give that clarity, right?
Mhm.
Maybe you don't want an oil painted look for your, your professional work, and for your personal work, because you know now how to use other brushes and stuff, you think, okay, I'm just going to use that other brush, and now your personal work becomes muddied by
Mhm.
your painting ability of using those different brushes. So yeah, it's a weird one, man. I haven't quite figured it out, and I don't know if I'm going about things the right way.
We live in a funny world where artists have really funny problems.
Yeah, man, I'm like scrolling through all of this art that I liked before, and I'm coming across
Yeah,
artists I haven't
the
seen in
thing that I
ages.
mostly meant are the I don't even know how to type for it because I usually see it in those like high-end, high-polished type of anime girls with guns and whatnot because they usually wear those type of an outfits that I was talking about. And I just maybe I will just stumble upon it randomly later in the process of looking through the web. Hmm.
And I am so sure I saved this artwork that I
Also,
know I saved.
one of the things that is usually the most annoying for me
Uh,
is sometimes when I look at different artworks, I feel that even though I can make an image, let's say 10,000 pixels wide for 10,000 pixels wide, that I don't have the same amount of available space for an artwork. I don't know how to put it differently, but again, now I'm looking, for example, at another piece by the Todd Hvu, the guy I just recently showed the artwork of. Uh, let me send it to you. This one. And I feel that this artwork is like so detailed that even though the entire the entire canvas is really like full, it feels so spacious. Like it feels like you have tons of space around him because of all the details and all the clarity that he has. And also, this is the different thing. How the fuck do you even start painting something like this? I mean,
I know what you mean, man. I know.
I mean, oh, okay. Let's put it this way. This entire image is much smaller than what I have in the background, but it has 10 times more details, and I already feel that I am out of space for the details on my guy. So
Well, I mean, I do think he probably was working on a high resolution, and he crunched it when he posted it up. But I know what you mean. I think the feeling that you're talking about, where the person's art that you like, it just fits the image so nicely. Like,
yeah, like he is using, like, for example, if I'm doing the face right now on, like, what zoom it is, 200. Let's go to 100 zoom. Yeah, I do have a lot of space, but it will be like ages before I will even be close to the same fidelity of all the details and everything. Like, I kind of wonder how long something like this would take him.
I think it would take a while, man. Just looking at it and all of the intricate details, I think it would take a while. But you're saying that, and I feel as though, like, when I see your work, I feel as though you've improved so much that you are getting that kind of detail more.
Yeah, but it's hard to. I mean, thanks, because it's really nice to hear it first. But the second thing is, like, I don't know how to decide what amount of details is enough. I kind of feel that I'm starting to ask all the questions that I had when I started learning art, because it stopped being so clear right now.
And also, I was going to ask you actually. You know, you using the Cintiq, right? Do
Right
you
now, yeah.
do you feel you you find it more comfortable zooming into
Uh,
zooming into an area and doing a lot more like
yeah,
detail rendering?
definitely. Because even though I zoom something like this, I have much, like, I mean, zooming really close, so it's like 350%. Uh, I feel more like I'm running out of space, in a sense, like how I run out of space when I work on paper. So there is this feeling that you can't add much more to it. And I never had this feeling when I was working on a casual tablet, like on a normal tablet without screen, that I'm reaching the point where I can't add details because I can always zoom in. With the Cintiq, I kind of feel that I can't add more things to certain areas because I'm too close to it. I don't know if you understand what I try to say.
I think I think I know what you
I
mean.
have to admit, adding details and small, like, you can scribble much more. Like, the scribbling is extremely pleasant to do, because you can do all those small scribbles and everything, and you can kind of make them. You can make the shapes that are easier to interpret by others, I believe.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so sometimes if you have to make like some sort of a golden detail or whatever, you will scribble the detail on a paper. You will just do something and it will look like a golden detail. And okay, let me. I will also. Do you see the stream or not?
I'm watching.
Yeah.
But you might
The
be a bit
thing.
behind.
Yeah, the thing is, I feel on normal tablet I would do this type of a line. Let's say if I want to make it more scribbly, and on this screen I can go more like, like this control over the thin and those type of things. I don't know how else to say it, but the line quality is much, like I would say this was the stop% line quality I could get on a normal tablet, and this is the quality you can get with the screen, because the feeling is just much better for all the scribbles and everything.
I can't. I don't know if you're doing. Oh, okay. Now I'm seeing you start to draw the white line.
Yeah. So the first one is like the how detailed the line could be on the normal tablet, in my opinion.
And the second line is
Yeah, the control is just it's much bigger control over the line thickness and everything. I just feel it's just easier to hatch, let's say, certain areas,